Hello, adventurers. Join the expedition to Shakespeare's secret playhouse, the Rose.
Ah, there you are. You know, I've traveled to some of the world's wildest places, but I've never discovered anything stranger than the Lost Valley of London. In this episode, join the adventure as we search for Shakespeare's secret playhouse, the Rose. Our expedition begins in Bankside, South London. Now, it's a little tricky to spot, but by carefully surveying the local terrain, I think I've discovered the right spot. Follow me. 16th century London was highly Puritan, but not Bankside. In the Elizabethan time of Shakespeare, this wasn't part of London at all. The bishops of Winchester who owned the land filled it full of gambling dens, alehouses, and fighting bears. Oh no, not again. Ah, looks like I've found my destination. Welcome to the Rose, one of the most fascinating archaeological sites in the world.
For historians of the period and theatre practitioners today who want to get some sense of what the Elizabethan plays would have looked like in their original productions, of course the Rose is a unique resource.
Please welcome Suzanne Marie, Honorary Artistic Associate of the Rose Playhouse. This is incredible. Where are we?
Well, Anthony, we are on the archaeological site of the very first Elizabethan playhouse on Bankside, built in 1587.
Home to some of the greatest playwrights ever, like Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Kidd, and...
Good day, I'm William Shakespeare. Hey, my first ever play premiered at the Rose Playhouse, Henry VI Part 1. And don't forget the infamous Titus Andronicus, you know, the really gory one. Oh dear.
People who'd spent their lives thinking about Shakespeare and enjoying Shakespeare, either as a performer or as an audience, immediately understood the importance of these relics of the actual theatre-going experience of the late 16th century and early 17th. The preservation happened because the people wanted it to happen. Of course, the professionals were there, the archaeologists and so on, but it was people around the world flying in to see the remains, to touch the ground, to use their imaginations to discover what it would have been like to stand in the open air and hear those words spoken for the first time.
So, what happened to it? Why is it like this now?
Well, it survived till about 1605, and Philip Hensel, who owned the Rose, he was in negotiations with the renewal of his lease. The rent was going to be increased, and Hensel decided he wasn't going to renew.
The Rose was abandoned. A city grew up over the top, and by the 1950s, an office block, Southbridge House, was built over 2/3 of the Rose.
And in 1988, Southbridge House was torn down. So the Museum of London archaeologists came in and they excavated the 2/3 of the Rose that are currently buried under the sand, concrete, and water.
I was the archaeologist directing the excavations of the site in, 1988-89.
What do all these red lights represent?
They represent the layout of the Rose. We're right in the middle, we're in the yard, surrounded by the galleries, this double line around the entire building. 3 stories high, with people sitting down, watching the play, That's the outer wall out there. That's the first bit we found in very early 1989. That's when we knew we had it, which is great. And it's all focused on this direction, which is the business end. This is the stage. Well, we're standing, we're jostling, we're a large crowd here in the yard. We're the groundlings. We push up to the stage. It's also like, it's almost Tudor moshing. When I started the excavation of that thing, I went through every single page of this. It's fantastic.
Oh, what does that section say there?
It says new, so that means that Henry VI Part 1 was a new play. And we know from Henzo's accounts that it was a box office hit because it takes £3, 16 shillings and 8 pence. This book is so vital to our understanding of Elizabethan playgoing. It's the only accounts book we have for any Elizabethan playhouse.
Let us not forget that it's all actually generated by people. And in a theatre, that's a very exciting collection of people. You've even got the shoes that they wore.
The man or woman had a bunion on his big toe and he just sliced around it so that it didn't hurt. Teeny weeny glass beads sewn onto costumes. A standard Tudor cannonball. You roll along to create a thunder effect.
But oh no, there was danger on the horizon. These remains were threatened. A new office block was due to be built over the top, and the archaeology of the Rose would be destroyed. Will the amazing remains be preserved for future generations? Find out in the next exciting episode of
Shakespeare's Secret Playhouse.
Onward to Adventure. In our next exciting episode, we'll witness the dramatic saving of the Rose Playhouse, meet the enthusiasts and volunteers that make it a thriving artistic centre today, discover how the remains are preserved, and the amazing plans for the future. All this plus the usual Lost Valley animation, sketches and fun. Join us then.